Episode 3 The Lighthouse That Stayed Awake. Hello, my friend. Welcome back. I'm so glad you have joined me again tonight. I hope you have found a quiet place to rest. Perhaps your room is dimly lit. Perhaps the rain is tapping softly against your window. Or maybe the night is wonderfully still. However, this evening has found you. I hope these next few moments feel like a gentle exhale. Take a slow breath in and let it go. Feel your shoulders become just a little lighter. There is nowhere to hurry. Nothing you need to finish. Only tonight. Only this story. Do you remember the little cabin hidden deep within the forest? The one where the fire never hurried, where warm tea waited patiently, and where the rain seemed to sing its own quiet lullaby. As morning arrived, you thank the little cabin for its kindness. You fold the blanket neatly across the rocking chair. The fire gave one last gentle crackle. And just before stepping outside, you noticed something resting beside the front door. A small lantern. Its warm golden light glowed softly. Through the morning sun had already risen. Attached to the handle was a tiny handwritten note. It simply read, "For the journey ahead, when the forest ends, follow the sea. Someone has been waiting for you." You smiled. You picked up the lantern. It felt surprisingly light, almost as though it carried hope instead of flame. The forest welcomed you one last time. The little lanterns hanging from the branches seemed to sway gently as you passed, almost like old friends waving goodbye. The birds greeted the morning quietly. The air smelled of pine, fresh earth, and distant salt carried by the wind. Salt? You paused. There it was again, very faint. The scent of the ocean. The trees slowly became thinner. Sunlight stretched farther across the path. The songs of birds blended with a new sound. Soft waves rolling onto the shore again and again. Steady, calm, unchanging. Soon, the forest opened completely. Before you stretched an endless sea. Its surface shimmered beneath the afternoon light like polished glass. Tiny white birds drift effortlessly across the sky. The breeze felt cool against your face. You stood quietly for a while, watching the waves breathe in and out, as though the ocean itself were sleeping peacefully. Far away on a rocky cliff stood a lighthouse, tall, white, timeless. Its lantern room caught the sunlight and reflected it across the sea. Even from this distance, it somehow felt welcoming. You followed the narrow path that curved along the cliffs. Wildflowers danced in the breeze beside you. Tiny yellow blossoms, lavender, white daisies, each one moving gently with the wind. The closer you came, the more peaceful everything became. There was no rush here. The lighthouse had stood for generations. It knew how to wait. By the time you reach its wooden door, the afternoon had quietly become evening. The sky had begun to blush with soft shades of gold, pink, and lavender. The sea reflected every color. The old wooden door stood slightly open, not because someone had forgotten to close it, but because visitors were always welcome. Inside, the lighthouse smelled of polished wood, old books, warm bread, and sea air. A spiral staircase circled upward toward the light. Each step creaked softly beneath your feet, not from age, but as if whispering, "Welcome." You climbed slowly, no hurry, one gentle step after another. Halfway up, you noticed framed paintings along the walls. Each one showed a ship arriving safely home. Some were tiny fishing boats. Others were great sailing vessels, each beneath the warm glow of the lighthouse. At the very top, you stepped into the lantern room. Windows surrounded you on every side. The sea stretched endlessly in every direction. The sun slowly slipped beneath the horizon. One by one, the first stars appeared. Then, without anyone touching it, the great lantern above your head began to glow. Softly, warmly, steadily. Its golden light slowly turned, sweeping across the sea. again and again and again. You wondered, who lights the lighthouse? Who keeps it shining every night? Just then, you noticed a small notebook resting beside the window. Its cover was worn smooth with time. You opened it carefully. Inside were messages from travelers who had visited over many years. One read, "Thank you for helping me find my way." Another simply said, "Your light reached farther than you know." Near the final page, someone had written, "The lighthouse never asks who you are. It simply shines for everyone." You closed the notebook gently. Those words stayed with you. Perhaps kindness is a little like that. It doesn't ask who deserves it. It simply offers light. The lantern continued its slow, comforting rhythm, turning, glowing, returning, never growing tired, never asking for applause, never expecting anything in return. Outside, the waves continued their endless conversation with the shore. The wind carried their quiet melody through the open windows. It sounded almost like a lullaby. You settled into a small wooden chair beside the glass, wrapped in a soft wool blanket someone had thoughtfully left there. Your little lantern rests beside your feet, its tiny flame quietly dancing. The gray lighthouse above, the little lantern below. Two lights, one large, one small, both guiding the way. You smiled. Perhaps we are all little lanterns sometimes, offering warmth in ways we never fully see. As the night deepened, the stars multiplied across the sky. Their reflections shimmered upon the water until it seemed impossible to tell where the sea ended and the heavens began. The lighthouse continued watching over them all, patiently, faithfully, without ever growing weary. You began to understand why it stayed awake. Not because it feared the darkness, but because someone, somewhere, might need its light. Perhaps tonight, that someone was you. You close your eyes for a moment. You listen the waves, the wind, the quiet turning of the lantern, your own gentle breathing. Everything feels peaceful. Everything feels safe. You realize something beautiful, even when you cannot see the shore. There can still be a light guiding you, even when life feels uncertain. Hope does not disappear. Sometimes it is simply waiting, like an old lighthouse, patiently shining through the night. Your breathing grows slower. Your thoughts become softer. The chair feels wonderfully comfortable. Outside, the moon rises above the sea. Silver light dances across the waves. The lighthouse greets it with its warm, golden glow. Two lights, different, yet both quietly keeping watch over the night. Soon, sleep begins to find you, like the tide returning gently to the shore. There is nothing left to do now. The lighthouse will stay awake. The sea will continue singing. The stars will keep their silent promises. And you may simply rest. Tomorrow, if you like, will follow a quiet path and land once again to discover a garden that has been patiently waiting, where every flower remembers the name of the person who stopped to admire it. Until then, sleep peacefully, dream gently, and good night, my friend.